Hey Geeks and Gamers, I'm a gamer on the go. I'm on the go right now. And you know what's perfect for going on the go as a gamer? The Steam Deck. That's right, the Steam Deck. I'm gonna do that every time I say the Steam Deck. It is perfect for gaming on the go, especially if you have a large Steam library. So, since I'm on the go right now, my Steam Deck is my companion. I also have a companion for this episode of 5 Cheap Games. His name is Legend of Leo. We are going to tell you about 5 cheap games for the Steam Deck. And yeah, this is I think my longest running series on 5 Cheap Games so far, with Justin of the Legend of Leo joining me once again. So thank you, Justin. What do I classify as being a cheap game? A cheap game to me is anything under $30. That's sort of my threshold for this series. So all the games we're going to be presenting to you today are under $30 for the Steam Deck. So, you know, I know it's kind of hard to get your hands on one of these now, but this video is sort of just for anybody that already owns a Steam Deck, or for people that are interested in just playing some more cool games on Steam. You know, you don't have to play these on your Steam Deck. You can play these on whatever you want. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of 5 Cheap Games. I don't know where I am. My first pick is Slay The Spire 2. That's right, I've been playing a lot of Slay The Spire 2. This isn't the most original choice, but this is a fucking great game. This game just released last month in early access, and I have been playing a lot of it. I was a big fan of the original Slay The Spire. I even did a review on this channel a while back. And yeah, if you'd ever played Slay The Spire, it is a roguelike deck building game where you pick a class and you go through different floors and you try to see how long you can survive with various stat elements being stacked on top of you. So one run is going to be completely different from another run. Every run is going to be very different with what what you receive. This isn't a game that I think is for everybody, but if you are like me and you're a freak for these kind of games, Slay the Spire 2 is so good. I have put a lot of time into it already, most of which on my Steam Deck. I think this is like a perfect Steam Deck style game, being primarily like a card-based game. It works very well for the, computer handheld hybrid. And this game is charming. I love the visuals. There's not much of a story here, but that's not really why you play this game. Your stories are what you're able to do each run, how far you're able to get, the different situations you find yourself in, and how you're able to build up your deck and your character throughout your run. That's the story. That's the real story that will be told by you. And I absolutely love the fact that there's missing assets right now because it's early access, but there's like some art pieces and stuff that aren't fully there yet for like when you complete different objectives during runs, and they have instead used placeholders that are obviously MS Paint. And please, Slay the Spire 2 devs, please, I know other people are asking as well, please leave those in. Like, give me an option to switch over to MS Paint mode, because it's so fucking funny whenever I finish a run, and I've been deep into this run for like 45 minutes or whatever, and I finish a run and I'm rewarded by the worst looking picture I've ever seen in my life. It's hilarious and charming. So I hope they keep that in. Slay the Spire 2 is fantastic. I like the new classes that they added a whole lot. I play as I wish I had the names brought up here, as the Reaper guy. I think he's Deathbringer or something. I forgot what the names are. But I do like the other one that they added too. And the returning classes also play really well, and they flesh a lot of elements out. They add new status effects and mechanics. My favorite new mechanic and status effect is Doom, which is sort of like poison in reverse. It's very strange how it works, but once you get the hang of it, I think it's a lot of fun to use. I can't gush enough about how good Slay the Spire 2 is. It's got co-op. If you know somebody else you want to play with, it's got co-op. Like, this game is phenomenal. I know a lot of people probably aren't interested because it is still in early access, but I feel honored to get to experience a game this good as it's still being, worked on. And I'm happy with my purchase of, I think this cost me like $24. So, great game. Won't cost you that much. Slay the Spire 2.
Where do you think nightmares come from? When your people huddled around the first campfire and stared out into the dark.
Hellboy Wed of Wyrd is a roguelike game. Here we are again with our roguelikes. Based in the Hellboy universe. This is more so based off of the Hellboy graphic novels. Not really based on like a movie or anything. And this game does a great job at bringing Mike Mangola's, I hope I'm saying his name right, Mangola, his world to life. Because the art style just absolutely nails Hellboy. This game, you're going to play as Hellboy, and you must venture through the Butterfly House, an ancient ruin that guards the entrance to an alternate dimension known as the Wyrd. You must locate an agent who's missing in action. So the Butterfly House kind of acts as your hub for the game, where you'll talk to different characters, get different intel, switch out different weapons and other elements, upgrades, and you'll venture through the Wyrd. And the Wyrd is kind of sectioned off into different levels. So there is a sense of progression in this game, actually, where once you finish one area of the Wyrd, you get access to another one. And then it's easier for you to get access to that next level later on. So you will actually, unlike a lot of other roguelike games, you will actually feel like there's progress being made. And the narrative's really fun in this game. The characters are accurate to the source material. Lance Riddick does Hellboy's voice, which I believe this is like one of his last roles he ever did. So props to him. Great, he did great as Hellboy. He has a perfect tone and cadence for that character. The action in the game is pretty fun. Not the most fleshed out 3D over the shoulder action game, but I do find that Hellboy's Fist of Doom or Hand of Doom and Hellboy's pistol or revolver or whatever it is, they just feel really good to use. He feels like Hellboy. And this game sort of started life under a indie dev team who I think made another game before this, like Weird West, which had a similar art style to Hellboy, and then they actually just went on to make a Hellboy game. So pretty cool. Some people, there were some mixed reviews on this game at launch, but I really liked Wed of Wyrd. I've had it and have played it for a while on my Steam Deck, and if you're a fan of roguelikes or a fan of the Hellboy comic books, this is definitely worth a look.
So,
What are we dealing with here? Ow! That's all for you.
4 psychic spikes measured at over 180 BPUs.
Hey!
Your job is to find possible links between the spikes.
And my last pick here is No Straight Roads. I absolutely adore this game. It's getting a sequel soon, which I'm very excited for. No Straight Roads is an interesting game because it combines a lot of elements of a character action game with a lot of elements of music. You play as Bunk Bed Junction, a band made up of Mayday, who's the guitarist, and Zook, who is the drummer. And you're out to lead a musical revolution through Vinyl City. The city has forgotten what rock music is. All of the artists and people that run the districts are made up of other genres like hip-hop, EDM, that sort of thing. So you'll go district to district defeating the different bosses that represent those musical genres. And there's a whole story that unfolds with some really fun voice acting in this game. This game was actually made up by the development team was actually made up by a bunch of Square Enix and Capcom devs who wanted to make something of their own. A lot of them coming from like Street Fighter V and Final Fantasy XIV. So to see a lot of those people leave those more corporate style companies and make a game this stylish that takes a lot of inspiration from, I'm sorry, not Final Fantasy XIV, they came from Final Fantasy 15. This stylish that takes a lot of inspiration from like anime and comic books and stuff like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool that they were able to break away from that corporate lifestyle and make something this creative, which in itself is a commentary on like being creative and going against what's the normal at the time with its narrative. Very excited to see how No Straight Roads 2 plays out. This game came out in 2020, so I did not think it was ever going to get a sequel. Plays great on the Steam Deck. It's a great co-op game, so if you actually want to like dock your Steam Deck, if that's something you're into doing, it's a great game to play with another person. But I have played through it on my own, and I still found it to be really enjoyable. Great soundtrack, like I said, great visuals. Just overall, like, this is such a cool, overlooked game that I hope more people check out.
Today, we stand up against NSR.
You are so naive to think that rock is still relevant.
We are gonna hijack their concert. Let's rock it. It's time we fight EDM with the power of rock. 1, 2, 3, 4.
DJ Subatomic Supernova!
Welcome everybody to Bunny Hill. This is a game that comes in at only $9 Canadian, and I've seen it on sale for as cheap as $2.24. This is best described as a downhill racer. I was glued to my Steam Deck the first time that I played this, trying to get the fastest time possible for all 4 courses. And there were 2 different options per course. You could play a shorter version, which would wrap up in around 30 seconds if you did your tricks properly. I'll talk about those soon. And then there were extended versions of the courses, which, if I'm remembering correctly, my times were about 3 or 4 times longer. The main draw of this game is trying to go fast, and you have a couple of different ways of achieving that. You could stick to the ground and try to go between all these different ski poles, and you get little boosts every time you do that, and you'll have a satisfying time playing the game that way. But the most fun, and the way that I got such short times when I did the time trials, was by trying to hit these flags. Now, when you hit a couple of flags, the game is already a ton of fun. You are zipping and zooming, and if you happen to go off a ramp, your character is going to fly for what feels like 10 seconds. But if you hit a third flag in quick succession, your character is going to be launched, and you can cover the whole course in 20 seconds. And that was my goal when I did the time trials. I was looking for the most optimal way of playing the start of the courses, trying to hit 3 flags really quickly, then get off a ramp or a slope, and then my character would just zoom. The map would turn into a blur, and in some short amount of time, I'd cross the finish line, and there you go. I'd have my little achievement for beating a course in 30 seconds or less. If, however, you happen to hit a 4th flag in quick succession, you basically break the level. But the game is made for that. The game is made for you distorting things as much as possible, hitting those top speeds, and again, watching everything turn into a blur and pass behind you. And I know that it sounds like such a specific thing. How could this be fun? How could this be recommended to a variety of people? But it is so addictive, trying to plan out your early part of the course, to hit those flags, and then to get to the end. But if you want to relax a little bit, turn on the CPUs, enjoy a little bit more of the course, and make your way a little more leisurely. You'll still have a lot of fun that way. And as you cross the finish line, several number of times, let's just say, you're going to unlock different characters. Different characters have different stats, whether it's handling or how much they benefit for the boost. So, Bunny Hill, it's a really funny game where the goal is to go as fast as possible, and in doing so, you're basically going to break the game. Highly recommend it. Even though it sounds really niche, please check this one out. Welcome everybody to Pepper Grinder. This is a game that comes in at $19.50 Canadian, but I've seen it bundled with other titles, and I've even seen it on sale for 60% off, which brings it down less than $8. So Pepper Grinder is a 2D platformer with really unique mechanics. Your main character here has a drill, and when you get to some soft terrain, whether it's below you, in front of you, or above you, you can use the drill to go through the terrain, and it'll pull you through the soft ground as if you're in a vortex. You can't stop while you're drilling in the ground, but once you finally emerge, your character pops out. And you have the option of pressing the A button when you do this, and you'll have an extra boost which can help you hit different platforms. There's a collectathon element to this game, where each level has 5 tokens scattered about. Some of the tokens are going to be hidden behind walls that you have to go up to and start drilling. Some tokens are also available by doing some tricky platforming and getting to an area that's off screen, and there it'll just be waiting for you out in the open. The other thing that you'll collect in this game are gems. So in a Mario game, these are your coins. In a Sonic game, these are your rings. And every now and then you could visit a shop and you can buy different cosmetics for your character, and you can buy some collectible elements that will fill out a photo album. So there's a lot here for the collector. Personally, I have a really hard time going slow enough to notice all the different token placements. When I'm going through the ground, when I'm getting pulled along and I can't stop, it's just about making the next platform, the next jump, the next leap over an obstacle. And I'm completely enveloped by the pressure to try to get through the level as quickly as possible, and safely too. Thankfully, there are checkpoints scattered throughout, so when you get to a checkpoint and you happen to lose all your life, you'll respawn there instead of at the beginning of the level. Look at how great the pixel art is, and look at all the tiny little assets that there are. Little vases that contain gems. Something hanging by a rope, and if you happen to collide with it, you'll break it, and again, you'll get more gems. Or the way that the ground collapses below you, or the way that you can add water to a volcanic area, and then it fills that with rock that you can traverse with your drill. And I do recommend it for the Steam Deck because it works perfectly, being a 2D side-scroller and not having too many buttons to press. But I also feel like if you play this on a larger screen, on your PC monitor, you're going to be able to take in a lot of these details even better. But that doesn't mean that it looks bad on the Steam Deck. So Pepper Grinder, an amazing platformer, one that I'm really enjoying both the look and the feel of. And even though it might look a little challenging, or might sound difficult because I described it as being a little faster, thanks to those checkpoints appearing multiple times throughout a level, you should have no problem replaying the hard sections and being able to master them with just a little bit of practice. I highly recommend this game for anybody who likes interesting platformers.
And there you go. Those were 5 cheap games for the Steam Deck. Thank you,
The Legend of Leo, Justin of The Legend of Leo, for joining me on this episode. It was truly a fun episode to make. We had some great picks. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the 5 games in this video. You know, I like making 5 cheap games. I know my production schedule has been a little off recently because I've been a little busy, but you know, I want to make more episodes of 5 cheap games this year. So also let me know in the comments if there's any consoles or devices you want to see 5 cheap games for and that I can make a video for. Is it the Steam Deck again? Just kidding, I already made one for this year. It's this video. You're watching it right now. I'm just stalling because I'm lost. Like where the hell am I?